So it is a really good feeling. It's orgasmic, I would even say. Like, I've never come during this cold to hot session, but it wouldn't take that much force or strokes to get me to culminate at that point. I would say if Diddy was in the sauna with me after I got out of the cold tub and I was just like going through that orgasmic phase of like feeling the heat rush back into my body, and Diddy put his hand on my thigh next to me, and I just like, I looked down and I saw Diddy's hand there, and then he started to move it over to my and then he just starts going, I wouldn't immediately stop him, because I am in such an orgasmic state from the cold to hot. It feels so good that I would give him a solid 4 to 6 strokes, which is probably all it would take, until I was like, dude, are you P. Diddy? Get the off. Like, what is happening? He's just in his baseball cap like, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Zach Reacts. And I wanted to start with something that was an odd interaction this week. It was one of those things where something happens to you and it seems like it could be normal in the moment. Like someone says something to you, something happens, and you go, oh, okay. And then 5 minutes later, as soon as reality hits you, you go, oh, what that person just said or did was fucking insane. And this is what happened. So I'm in the elevator of my building, and there's a woman in there with a dog. And the dog starts approaching me, and I don't really touch people's dogs in elevators. If the dog gets close to me, or if it's like rubbing against my leg, I'll lean down and give it a cute little like, oh my God, like such a cute little, oh my God, you get such a little cute little fluff ball there. Oh, what's his name? And then I'm out of the elevator and I'm, drinking in my apartment. 5 minutes after that, I couldn't give a shit about other people's dogs. I do want a dog eventually, but it's either here nor there. I don't give a shit about petting other people's dogs. I gladly walk by on the street or in the elevator. I just, I pretend like they're not even there. So this woman is in the elevator and the dog starts to get close to me. It starts to, I could feel the fur brush against my leg. And I say to the woman, hey, can I pet your dog? And she goes, oh no, he's the sweetest dog. He just doesn't like people. And I thought, okay. In that moment, I was like, oh, okay. And then as soon as she walked out of the elevator, because she got off on the, 4th or 5th floor, I was riding all the way up to the 9th floor. For those 3 or 4 floors, once she got out, I was like, oh, that makes no sense, because a dog's job, the reason why people get dogs in the first place is because they like people. That is the main driver, I would say, behind getting a dog in today's society. The majority of people are not getting sled dogs or people to help out on farms with manual labor. They're getting dogs because dogs are a human companion. So this lady said to me, I have the sweetest dog, but he just does not like people. That's like saying, oh yeah, my friend, he's a surgeon. He's the best surgeon. You should check him out. The only thing is he just kills all of his patients. Don't worry about it though. He's the best. He's the best. But like the thing he's supposed to do, the number one thing behind being a surgeon, saving people's lives, he just does not do that. But, other than that, he's the sweetest surgeon. He's the best. Come on, he's got personality. While he's chopping you up, leaving scalpels inside your spleen, just dialing all the wrong numbers of the things going into your body and just injecting you with way too much morphine and giving you lethal doses of medication. Besides all of those things that I just said that would kill you, he's the best. He's the best. So that what that woman said made no sense. You don't have the sweetest. If your dog doesn't like people, you are in the bottom 0.0001% of sweetness in dogs. And there are a lot of dogs that don't like people. I've met dogs that don't like people. Like I just said, there's one in the elevator. I've a few other people have, they say like don't pet my dog because he doesn't like other people, which is fine. Like some dogs get abused or whatever. They're just only comfortable around certain human beings. But this woman was like, no, he loves people. This one was like, no, he doesn't love people, like in general, like it's just not his thing, but he's the sweetest. So she was in a sweet sense of denial because your dog's crazy. You don't have a sweet dog. And that has, maybe it's you, maybe it's the dog, maybe it's a little bit of both, but something you cannot do is call a dog that does not enjoy the presence of human beings, the number one thing that makes for a good dog, I would argue, in most cases, that dog is not sweet. And that was my odd interaction of the week. So thank you for listening to that. Speaking of odd interactions, Diddy was arrested. And he's done a whole bunch of shit. The indictment came out. He's currently sitting in the same jail of Jeffrey Epstein, I believe. And there's a whole lot of shit going on with the sex trafficking, the flying in prostitutes across state lines, the 1,000 tubs of baby oil or whatever the fuck it was, with all the feds raiding his house, all the footage that they no doubt found in his homes, all this shit is going on. And while I was looking around to try to get an understanding of what's going on with the Diddy case, I came across an article from the Daily Mail that says, this is the title, Inside the Seedy Bathhouse that Diddy visited 3 times a week as staff reveal his favorite treatment. Inside the seedy bathhouse that Dizzy, I can't say his name. Inside the seedy bathhouse that Diddy visited 3 times a week as staff reveal his favorite treatment. And I see the photo in the article and I recognize that bathhouse because it's the bathhouse that I go to. It's the Turkish baths in the East Village. I've been here 7 or 8 times, and it's not seedy because seedy implies like, fucking, there's cum on the walls and fucking like underworld people only go there, and it's, there's just like not good, like a general sense of evil activity going on. Like this isn't a seedy bathhouse. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. And I'm not just saying that to defend myself because Diddy went there. I'm saying it because I strongly, I feel like as a semi-regular customer of this bathhouse, I wouldn't describe it as seedy. It's very Russian. I'll say that. It's a very Russian, bare bones bathhouse. It doesn't have the bouginess of like, an Equinox style steam room, sauna, bathhouse where you have the keels. Like there are a lot of like bougie bathhouses in New York where you go and, everything's modern. The tiling's brand new. People, the sorts of people that go there are like, dudes in Wall Street, finance bankers, get like hipsters, some of them covered in tattoos, like whatever, like you get hipster tattoos at like the bougie bathhouses. This bathhouse, you're getting more of the Russian mafia tattoos. And that doesn't mean that it's seedy. It just means that the clientele that goes there is they're going there for the bathhouse. It's not like it's not a highly social thing. Like, yes, you're going to a bathhouse and you're surrounded by other people. And, by definition, that is a social activity, but it's not like these ones where like one time I went to a bathhouse in Williamsburg where, you pay $75 to go in and like people are barely using the saunas because they're all hanging out in the middle area with their feet dipped in the tubs. They're not even dipped in the tubs, but like everyone is just talking Like no one's respecting sauna etiquette. Like it's supposed to be a chill place. It's supposed to be a place where you go to relax. Like this Russian bathhouse in the East Village is that for me. It's a place where you go and, you know, people say hi, you know, they'll talk quietly amongst themselves. You know, you'll see anyone from Hasidic Jews to, you know, you do get some Wall Street guys, but you also just get like, you get a mix of people. You get the traditional Russian people that are wearing the hats, and you could tell like they look just very Russian. They have that aesthetic. It is a bare bones, non-bougie bathhouse. So I feel like I had to stick up for, you know, the description a little bit in the article. But that being said, like if I were in the Russian mafia and, you know, I just snapped a guy's neck who crossed me, I would go straight to this bathhouse to unwind. So I'm not saying, you know, maybe I'm sure there's some, you know, mafia underworld dudes, like some people there that have participated in some seedy activity. Maybe they go to this bathhouse, but I've always felt a very, you know, traditional, you know, sort of like, oh, it's simple. It's none of like, it's like the difference between gyms. Like Equinox has all like these extravagancies, and, you know, you walk into a gym and it's just like some dumbbells and a few racks and people are there to work out. That is like the bathhouse version of this. There's also, you know, in this bathhouse, just to describe it a little bit more, because I really want you guys to have a picture of the bathhouse that Diddy apparently used to frequent. So, and I've seen this in the bathhouse before. There's a guy who beats you with feathers, and he walks around with a bucket, and he goes into the sauna, and he will just start beating people with feathers on their back, dipping the feathers in the water, and then people lie down, and he just beats them and shellacks them. And at the end, they sit up, and then they open up their chest, and he just beats them across the chest. And the expression on these people's faces while they're receiving the feather beating treatment, I don't know if I would describe it as pleasant or painful or somewhere in between. To be entirely honest with you, I'm not sure if the guy that beats people with feathers actually works for the bathhouse, or, you know, he's just a guy who's taking advantage of an operation. He started on the side where he went to the bathhouse and he was like, oh, no one's doing the feather beating around here yet. I have a bucket. I could build a feather baton. I'm in business. And he just goes around, and it's consensual, and you know, people get the treatment. I've never gotten it, but I've sat next to people who do, and it's kind of jarring when, you know, you're sitting in a sauna, you're relaxed, your eyes might be closed, and then all of a sudden you just hear fack, 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 and then some guy's just getting beat on the back with a gigantic spoon of feathers, and another guy is like, because it's a sauna, the guy who's doing the treatment also has his shirt off and is sweating all over the other guy, and, you know, it's a sight to see. But I just wanted to paint a little bit more of the picture, because I feel like that's more of a fair treatment, no pun intended, of the description of this sauna. You know, it's not seedy, but there are some, you know, there are some things that if you're expecting the bougie bathhouse experience, you know, you might get more of the Eastern Russian style experience, treatments, attitudes, more of like a, you know, it's like a cold, standoffish, like we're here to fucking roast. We're here to go in the cold tub. And then beyond that, there might be some chit chat here or there. I might get beat with some feathers. You know, I'm going to be wearing my Russian style hats that they offer in there that apparently protect you from overheating. But I never got that, because how is felt supposed to protect you from overheating? But people also wear the little Russian cone hats in there. But yeah, that is that. I've had nothing but wonderful times in the East Russian bathhouse. But let's get into the story about Diddy. So it says, on a dimly lit street in the grungy East Village sits a New York institution where, on any given day, sheepish, lovelorn men seeking connections through the steam door appear. But in the entrance of the Turkish and Russian bathhouse on East 10th Street hangs a photograph of one very well-known face. The grainy photograph shows a young Diddy, his face slightly hidden beneath a baseball hat, posing with a friend. I've actually seen this picture. There is a wall of famous people in the sauna. I think it's before you take the steps down into the sauna. It's just like you have a bunch of famous people. And I do remember seeing the Diddy photo up there, and they describe it as Diddy just chilling there with a baseball hat. What if the photo is just like people in the bathhouse are like, oh my God, I had no idea what Diddy was doing. We were not aware that any of the things were going on in this bathhouse that, are involved in the Diddy case. And what if the photo is just Diddy getting railed with a strap on in the steam room? Just like full out, just poundage in the steam room. And then in the East bathhouse, Russian photographer comes in, and Diddy stops for 1 second, and he like leans over, and you can just like see the strap on protruding from his asshole, and the guy behind him poses, and they both sort of like throw the peace sign, and they're like, cheese bitches, and then they just go back to getting pounded in the butt. But yeah, that would be hilarious if that was the photo, but it's not. It's not the photo. It is indeed the one where Diddy's just wearing a cap, posing with his friend. The article goes on to say that it was taken during one of the many visits owners say the rapper made throughout the course of the 90s. He was at the height of his game as the king of hip-hop. Now, as he sits in a squalid jail cell accused of sex trafficking and horrendous abuse, the visits carry with them dark questions about how the rapper hid his unhealthy obsession with sex in plain sight of the world that revered him. Are these really the dark questions that people are asking about Diddy? Like, I think Diddy visiting a bathhouse is the least dark thing about him. Diddy's not getting investigated for visiting a bathhouse and, maybe getting blown a couple times in the bathhouse, hand jobs. I don't know. I don't know what's going on for other patrons inside that bathhouse or other bathhouses. I understand there's a bathhouse culture where guys can come in and, they get a signal from another guy, and then all of a sudden they're in the steam room jacking each other off, and it is what it is. But I don't think, is that the dark question we are trying to figure out about Diddy? Like, what sort of lubricant was being used in the steam room when these men were jerking Diddy off? What was he promising them? What was he promising that guy with feathers that beat him in the back when he said, if you let me do this treatment naked, I will, let you record your album on Bad Boy Record? What was he promising the feather beating man? What was he telling him? I don't think these are the, you could argue that this is the best thing, the brightest thing that Diddy has done, according to his other accusations, where he's sex trafficking. He's filming people getting sexually assaulted. He's coercing people into having these freak off wild orgies that are taking place days at a time. You could argue that visiting a bathhouse and, just fucking bopping around, dipping into the cold tub, going into the sauna, maybe there's things going on in a room where a door gets locked, and there are locked doors in the bathhouse. There are doors I haven't been behind, to be fair. I don't know what's going on behind those doors. I assume they were just massage treatments. But who's, I'm not saying it's a rub and tug, but if it is, well, that's not that dark. That's not a dark question. I know people who have done it. It's a thing that happens. And to insinuate that, the Diddy visiting a bathhouse now carries with it dark questions about how the rapper hid his unhealthy obsession with sex in plain sight of the world. Like, there are some pretty fucking ripped people in that bathhouse. It's also slippery. It's extremely slippery. If you've ever been in a bathhouse, you can't like run away from someone you've just raped. Like, you'd slip and crack your head on the tub and then wake up in the hospital handcuffed to the bed. Like, if you're going to sexually assault someone, like Diddy, it looks like allegedly, has done dozens and dozens of times over, and not allegedly, like was caught on camera beating the shit out of his former girlfriend Cassie in a hotel. Like, if you're gonna assault, let's say, someone in a bathhouse, or like do something illegal, non-consensual, for someone to do a sexual act to you in a bathhouse, there are a bunch of jacked dudes in there, like dudes much like I'm not even I'm like 6 feet, 185 pounds. Like, I'm on the smaller side of dudes that I've seen in that bathhouse. Like, no joke, there are guys that are just up to their fucking like neck straps in tattoos, 6'4", 240, like, do not want to fuck with. I couldn't imagine if Diddy like put his hands on one of those dudes' thighs, or another dude like that just out of the corner of his eye saw someone that needed help. Like, Diddy would get locked in the hottest sauna in that place and get fried if he ever tried to do something. And again, it's a terrible place to get away. Like, nothing is more humiliating than, like, obviously if you the rape and like, if you sexually assault someone, that, that's terrible. But to a rapist, that's not humiliating. To someone like Diddy, that's not humiliating. But if Diddy had to sexually assault someone and then like slow tiptoe on a slippery sauna tile with a towel strapped around his waist that's barely covering his cock, like if he had to like slow tiptoe up the stairs and take his time to get away from a sexual assault, like, that is the most humiliating thing on the planet, because you're getting caught. Like, you're just gonna get decked by someone. It's gonna take you 4 minutes just to get up the stairs because of how slow you can't run in a sauna. You can't get away in a sauna. Like, it's not a good situation for anyone. So that's all I'm trying to say. The article, they made a statement about on any given day. They said, I just wanted to go back to this. On any given day, sheepish, lovelorn men stream through the door looking for connections in this bathhouse. Why has no one ever tried to fuck me in this bathhouse? I feel like if this is true, if there are sheepish, lovelorn men streaming through the door looking for connections, craving for connections, like they're so hungry for cock that, they're slipping and sliding all over these sauna floors, hoping that they'll accidentally fall into one. Just like, oh, oopsie, what is that, a chair? Oh no, that's a cock. My bad. I'm just gonna sit. If people are that hungry for cock in this bathhouse, why has no one ever tried to fuck me? I feel like I look decent with my shirt off. I'm not ripped, but you could tell I work out a little bit. I sometimes when it's too hot, I'll give my like hair a little flip and I'll throw it back, and there's some moisture that, flies up against my face and up against the wall. Like, it's a little hot when I'm doing as I'm doing it. Sometimes I'm like, damn, if someone else was looking at this right now, they would think it's pretty hot. My thighs, you could see my thighs in the tiny towel. You could tell I do some squats, not very heavy, but I squat. And so now I'm offended that no one has tried to fuck me in this bathhouse, because apparently people are just thirsting, absolutely thirsting for a pillage in this establishment, according to the Daily Mail. So I don't know what's going on with that. What do I have to do to get fucked in a bathhouse? And not that I would accept it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I do want to at least be propositioned. That would be nice. Just someone to acknowledge, like, hey, I'd have sex with the thing I'm seeing in front of me, your body. You're kind of not that ripped, but could tell you work out sometimes body. I would be like, yeah, dude, thanks. Like, I really appreciate that. That is going a long way. I'm not going to have sex with you. But you made me smile and you made my day. And, I'm going to leave this sauna not only refreshed physically, but now also emotionally because of what you said to me, sir. I am so thankful for the things that you've bestowed upon me. And I appreciate that. So yeah, no one's tried to fuck me in there. I've never seen any sexual activity in there. But apparently people are streaming through the doors of this bathhouse seeking connection. So I guess I'm just not on the menu for these guys. It is what it is. It goes on to say the unassuming 3-story townhouse has been a destination for locals and celebrities alike since its founding a century and a half ago. Since 1892, men and women have flocked to this legendary bathhouse for its health benefits to scrub, to steam, relax, and rejuvenate. Many visit innocently, looking for a place to rinse off the city after a hard day's work. But for Diddy, the allure was deeper. That's according to his former bodyguard, Gene Deal, who claims he visited to, quote, cruise for male partners. Now, like I said, no one's ever approached me with a sexual imposition, which I'm highly offended by. I've never seen any gay activity or even heterosexual, any sexual activity of any kind. I've never seen, displays of affection in this bathhouse. Now I feel like there's a joke being played on me where everyone who goes to this bathhouse has a special pass to the roof or some back room, just fucking orgy sex club, some portal of physical enlightenment that I just haven't gotten access to. Now I'm feeling like this entire bathhouse situation is a joke on me, that Diddy has been sexually trafficking women and assaulting people and filming these orgies and buying bottles of baby oil. I feel like he's doing this whole thing to get to this moment where I'm reading this argument about him and I'm realizing that now I am the odd man out. I'm the one who hasn't been invited to the bathhouse orgies. And it doesn't feel good. It feels terrible. It's like, when none of your friends, your friends never, like you're in a group of friends, let's say, and you're in high school. And when a certain topic comes up, like your friends are always telling you about the parties after they happen. Like you get to school on Monday and your friend's like, oh yeah, I went to Seth's house and it was fucking sick. And we did keg stands. His parents were away. Or, maybe there were those cool high school parents that would just fucking stay and play beer pong while there were a bunch of high schoolers around, which now is very weird now that I'm thinking back on it. Like those parents that would just be, like chill, like the dad in flip-flops holding a solo cup, just overseeing a bunch of 16-year-olds playing beer pong in sunglasses. Like that is weird now that I'm looking back on it. But it would be like if I was in that friend group and I never heard about the parties before they happened. But when we got to the lunch table on Monday, everyone was talking about the parties. And then I say, hey guys, can you invite me to the next one? Like, can you keep me posted? That sounds really cool. I want to, get my dick sucked in a closet. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, no, well, Zach, sure, 100%. Like, well, definitely, we'll tell you. And then 3 weeks later, like there's another party and then they come back and they're like, oh dude, so sorry. Like, damn, dude, the party at Seth's house, like, the last one we forgot about. But Chad, like this party was so last second. We didn't even have time to tell you, bro. Like it's our bad. And then like that happens over and over. And then you realize that you're the one being left out. And that's how I feel about this bathhouse situation. Everything in this article about this bathhouse is like, you could just, you could accidentally get blown in the cafe above the bathhouse, like on the first floor before you go down. Like you might just you slip into someone's mouth. That's how easy it is to get blown in this bathhouse. People are just lining up to just fucking put you in their mouth. And I haven't managed to get proposition once. So I've never seen gay activity, never seen any affection of any sort. But I will say this, that steam room does get pretty foggy. I will say there was one time where I was having a conversation, and just to paint a picture, it was with two Hasidic Jews, and I was talking to them about real estate. They were saying, what they did, and they were, talking about selling, and I was with another friend that was also in real estate. So we were all standing in the steam room, kind of having like a real estate conversational cabal, going back and forth. I'm in reality, like, I was so burnt out at that point, I'm barely listening. But there were the two Hasidic Jew guys talking by the door. I'm sitting down, my friend's to my right, and they're talking about, telling my friend, oh, these are what you should do if you first get into real estate and selling buildings, and all these are the mistakes you shouldn't make. This, it's ruthless out there. You gotta fucking, and they're saying it, like, they're so passionate. They're the little like Jew curly fries sideburns. I could see them like in the shadows of the steam swaying from side to side. That's how passionate they were about this conversation. They were almost giving themselves whiplash with their own Jew sideburns. And so they were really, going at it with my friend back and forth. And then out of the corner of my eye to the left, there's a whole nother section of the steam room. And it was very fogged up at this point. It was, if you've ever been in a steam room, the steam comes out in intervals. And when the steam sprays for, that next minute or two after, you're essentially blind. Like, it's hard to even open your eyes. Like, there's essential oils in the steam too. So like, you're smelling it. It's so cloudy, like it's so thick. And then the steam starts to dissipate. So like, when that new spray happens, you can barely see a foot in front of you. And so while everyone's talking in my group, another spray comes on, a re-up of the steam. And there were two guys to my left, kind of ripped, kind of got a vibe that they may be together, maybe looking for the right moment. And the steam went up. And I don't know if I was imagining it or like hallucinating, because I was just like so saunaed out at that point. I was, just like hearing or seeing things. But I could swear that I heard like not a blowjob noise, but like the ruffling of a bathing suit, like a jerking off noise, just like. And it sounds like a blowjob noise because I'm doing it with my mouth, but you'll have to imagine like it was more like a, like you could hear the beating, like when you're jerking off, like you could hear like the beating of your palm against the skin every time you're doing it. Like I could hear something that was a rhythm, and I didn't see anything because I couldn't, because the steam was so hot or the steam was so thick, but I heard a rhythm that was there that wasn't there before. And sometimes the steam drops from the ceiling, like you'll hear the drops, especially right after the steam gets dispersed again, like you'll hear like the steady drops pouring from the ceiling. But this didn't sound like that. It sounded like a human manipulation of some sort. Maybe it was sexual, maybe it wasn't. Again, I couldn't see through the fog. All I saw was barely an outline of two, pretty jacked white dudes that looked like they could have been shaking each other's hand, or, shaking a penis, or, just like talking enthusiastically, like going back and forth, or something happened. I don't know what it was. But if I was to see something, that would have been it. And that would have been totally fine, because that's consensual. If you want to get jerked off in a bathhouse, and both people are agreeing to it and no one sees it, what better way to do that? I didn't see it. The Hasidic Jews didn't see it. My friend didn't see it. The only people that knew totally what was going on was the two willing participants in that situation. So never saw it. So I guess if Diddy was going to get away with something in this bathhouse, the steam room would be an option for sure. I bet if there are things that do go on in there, a lot of it goes on in the steam room right after that steam dispersion, right, like, right when that steam is going all around in thick bursts, that is the prime opportunity to strike a cock at that moment where no one else can see. And I was also thinking about other situations where Diddy, if he was, in this bathhouse and he was looking to do some, quote unquote, seedy things like the article describes, where else would he do that? And another option could be the Russian room. The Russian room in this bathhouse, first of all, it gets illegally hot in this Russian room. It's a room where you go in and immediately you feel your ears start to cook. I've often left this room not because of how hot it is, like physically to my entire body, like that feeling of overheating and overexhaustion. I've often left this room because my ears are physically starting to cook. Like I don't know what the legal temperature is for how hot a room is allowed to be in a bathhouse, for how hot a sauna is allowed to be, but it would be hard to believe that this Russian room is under that. And I will say, a good bathhouse does break the law a little bit. If the limit for a sauna is, let's say it's 190 degrees, I want a bathhouse that's like, we'll push it to 197. If the limit for a cold tub is 37 degrees, I want a bathhouse that's like, what, we'll crank that bitch down to 33. We'll get it popping in there. We'll get you just fucking lit in the cold tub. So I do like a bathhouse that sort of plays with the rules a little bit. So this room, whatever the laws are for the temperature that a human body is allowed to be inside in a room, this room will physically start to cook the upper part of your ears. That is how hot it is. And there's actually a station in this room where you can put a bucket in a pool of water and pour it over your head. And it helps you stay in the room a little bit longer. It cools you off. And this is also the room where I've seen the feather beating guy go around and just beat people to shit with the feathers, in this room. So there's a lot going on in this room. I have been in this room multiple times where it's so hot, it's so brutal. If you stay in there for like 10 to 15 minutes, which would be a fucking shit ton. Like, it's pretty good in a normal sauna, like 180 degree sauna. If you can stay in there for 15, 20 minutes, like that's fucking, that's pretty good. If you stay in this sauna for 10 minutes, your mind starts to wander. Like you start to go inside yourself and think like I've had moments where I'm in the sauna. It's like, it feels like I have to question, like I'll leave the sauna and I'll go straight to the bathroom just to make sure my ears are there, because there are points where I'm sitting inside the sauna and it feels like my ears are literally falling off or they're melting off, and I touch them and I don't believe what I'm touching. Like, I've convinced myself that my ears have somehow folded off in the heat, the tops of my ears. That's how hot it gets. It starts to fuck with your mind. You start to go in and out. I've seen some people in there that have like borderline look like they're gonna pass out or about to pass out. Like people that just aren't familiar with the strength of that room. So if Diddy was going to try something, it would be in this Russian room. He would just sit in the Russian room. Maybe he would even pretend to be the feather guy. Like Diddy would just bring a bucket of feathers into the Russian room and just look for people that looked like they were on the border of passing out, or he'd look for people touching the tips of their ears to try to see like, all right, who's getting to that borderline hallucination stage where they feel like their ears are melting off their body. And he'd look for those people, and then he'd feather them, and then maybe he would try some other things. And I'm not saying Diddy would do that in this bathhouse. But if I were him, if I were going to look for things to do, the Russian room is definitely a target for the type of things that Diddy was looking to do to other people. So yeah, wait for people about to pass out in the rush room. I would also say, like, Diddy could pretend to work for the bathhouse, give out massages with, a fake Russian accent, just lure people into the massage rooms, and he'd be wearing that baseball cap he had on in the photo and just convince people that he worked for the bathhouse. So yeah, I don't know exactly what was going on in there, or if Diddy was actually doing anything in this bathhouse that would be considered illegal activity. Again, it's a Daily Mail article. Who the fuck knows? I'm sure. He had a lot of options. He had hotels. He had mansions. He didn't have to do things in the bathhouse. This might have just been a spot where Diddy was chilling and didn't really get into all that much stuff. So the last part of the article, towards the end, it says, on a recent rainy afternoon in September, DailyMail.com visited the notorious bathhouse. Alongside Diddy's picture are those of other famous patrons: John F. Kennedy Jr., Danny DeVito, LL Cool J, Liv Schreiber, Matthew McConaughey, Hugh Jackman, and Russian MMA fighter Igor Zyanziev. That is the wildest orgy I've ever heard. Like, imagine if all these guys, like, they were actually just getting fucking buck wild in the bathhouse and Diddy was there. Like, it's just 5 Jack guys and Danny DeVito. Like, Matthew McConaughey, Hugh Jackman, Russian MMA fighter Igor Zyanziev, LL Cool J, who might be the most jacked rapper to ever exist, and Danny DeVito. It's a spectacular. The spectacular orgy to imagine the dimensions of Danny DeVito fitting into that party. I picture Danny DeVito in an orgy like his character in Always Sunny. Like, I picture Danny DeVito just being like a Frank Reynolds in Always Sunny, sweating, holding a hot dog in one hand, firing off a gun in the other. And he's just like, oh my God, I dropped my monster condom that I use for my Magnum dong. I'm so sorry, guys. My monster condom. Oh my God, it dropped right next to your foot, Matthew McConaughey. Could you pick up my monster condom for my monster dong? That's how I picture Danny DeVito fitting into that situation. And then it says, by 11:30 a.m., a line of men was already waiting for the doors open, ready to enjoy the men-only session that runs from noon until 5 p.m. Again, I've been to this bathhouse 7 or 8 times. I've never seen a line of guys just like chomping at the bit that are apparently, like, maybe they have men-only sessions at this bathhouse, which is actually normal for bathhouses. Bathhouse culture, if you have traveled to other places outside of America, America is the odd one out that has co-ed bathhouse sessions. Like, a lot of bathhouses outside of America will separate men and women sessions, or like they'll have men come on one day and women come on another day, and it's just nude all the time. So like, this article is making it sound like these men-only sessions, this seedy bathhouse, men lining up. Like, it's not really like that in most bathhouses. It says the crowd of men included people of various ages, professions, and demographics. Some were newcomers, others were veteran splashers. Many were fit and muscular, while others looked well-fed with generous bellies. That's a weird way to call someone fat. Just being like, you well-fed fucking motherfucker. Look at that. Look at your generous ass mouth giving your belly so much to work with. You fucking generous belly bitch ass. Just call them fat. Just say there's some fit people and some fat people. By nearly 2 p.m., 100 men had streamed through the basement of the bathhouse, some wrapped in small loincloths. That's the bathing suits they give out there. It's not a small loincloth. Other people completely naked. While many were there for nothing more than esteem, others quickly got frisky. And again, I feel like I have to stick up for bathhouse culture here. There's a legitimate bathhouse culture. I know, like, the stereotype, obviously, is people go to bathhouses, they, gay orgies, they get sucked off. It is what it is. But, 99.8% of people are there to use the sauna, to use the cold tub, to, get a relaxed atmosphere, to legitimately unwind. And there's a bathhouse that, and this might be one of the greatest experiences I've ever had as a human being, is there's a bathhouse in the Netherlands called Therme 2000. And it's like, imagine a golf course, but every hole has a different type of sauna. Every like, you're walking outside and you'll get to, one sauna is like a Russian sauna, then another one is a Turkish sauna, another one is like a firewood sauna. It's half in, half outside. There's a huge lawn. And it's surprisingly cheap. It's like $60 to spend a day at like this sauna resort. And it's one of the greatest things I've ever done. And it's naked. It's nude. The 2 times that I've been there, you get naked. It's co-ed. I do think they might have male and female times, but you're in a sauna and it's not weird. It is what it is. It's in the Netherlands. It's not weird for people to be naked around each other. We make it a weird thing in America where it's like you see naked men in a bathhouse, and then the Daily Mail is like, there were seedy men lining up to get their dick sucked. They were wearing loincloths. Some weren't wearing loincloths. What were they going to do with that loincloth? Were they going to tie it around their cock to get even more hard, and so they could fuck each other in the ass in the Russian room? Oh my God, their ears are going to melt into their assholes. It just is what it is. Bathhouse culture is bathhouse culture. How funny would it be if I'm just defending bathhouse culture and then the entire time some guy's just sucking me off under the table? I'm like, yeah, no, not everything is a gay orgy. Sometimes people just like to relax. And I'm just like, yo, dude, stop. I finished 4 minutes ago. You could stop sucking my cock during this podcast now. But yeah, I just wanted to stick up for bathhouse culture a little bit. But for people who have never been to a bathhouse, for people who would want to experience a bathhouse, maybe you haven't gone, maybe you have gone and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I just want to describe what it's like. And this is my favorite thing to do in a bathhouse, which probably wasn't Diddy's favorite thing to do in a bathhouse, but this is my favorite thing to do in a bathhouse. It's to sit in the cold tub. There's a cold tub in the East Village bathhouse. I think it's anywhere from like 38 to 40 degrees. And you sit in there. And at first, when you get in there, for the first minute and a half to 2 minutes, your body is shaking violently. And it can be difficult to breathe. You're shaking. And that's because your body thinks you're dying. And it's like, get out of this water. You're going to die. And then you stay in there for another 2 to 3 minutes. And then by around 5 minutes sitting in 38 degree water, it starts to feel good. You start to have this euphoric sensation take over. And that's also because you're starting to die. That's something that happens during hypothermia when your body is in cold water. You get to a point where, like, I don't know if it's your body protecting you or it's some sort of survival reaction. I don't know what it is, but it starts to feel good. And like, you actually do get a warmth while you're sitting in this cold water. And I think it's like your blood rushing from your limbs to your heart and your head to protect your internal organs. So I think that's like the warmth. But like, yeah, you're dying. You're like, I'm gonna make my body think I'm gonna try to kill myself for 5 minutes, and then this sort of euphoric warmth effect starts kicking in, and then it starts to feel good. And so I'm sitting there in that water, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. And then your mind starts to get a little bit slower, and you start to think, oh, I could sit in here forever. And then you die some more. And After about 5.5 to 6 minutes, I get out. That's about the most I will spend in this water. The first time I went in, I was maybe in there for a minute and a half. Now I can spend 5.5, 6 minutes. You get out and you feel so frozen, but you feel like Superman. And then I immediately go into one of the hotter saunas. And when I tell you that the heat combined, the heat of the sauna combined with the cold that is still riddling through my body, when that switch starts to flip and like you get the cold and the tension, the heat and cold tension, and then like these sort of like goosebumps building through your skin, and it feels like the cold is coming out and the warmth is going in, and you start to get like these prickles, and it legitimately is a high. Like it feels, if I took a pill and then I started to feel the things that I feel when I go straight from the cold tub to the sauna, I would go, oh, the pill's kicking in now. I'm getting high as shit. This is fucking incredible. It's a good feeling, and it makes you feel like Superman, not just because of the feeling, but then you can also stay in the sauna for way longer. If I go from the cold tub to the sauna, I sometimes stay in the sauna for 15 minutes before I even start to feel hot, because my body is sort of like dispelling the cold that's gripping my bones. So it is a really good feeling. It's orgasmic, I would even say. Like, I've never come during this cold to hot session, but it wouldn't take that much force or strokes to get me to culminate at that point. I would say if Diddy was in the sauna with me after I got out of the cold tub, and I was just like going through that orgasmic phase of like feeling the heat rush back into my body, and Diddy put his hand on my thigh next to me, and I just like, I looked down and I saw Diddy's hand there, and then he started to move it over to my cock, and I was like, oh my God, that actually feels good. And I look at him and I'm like, and then he just starts going. I wouldn't immediately stop him, because I am in such an orgasmic state from the cold to hot. And so it feels so fucking good that I would give him a solid 4 to 6 strokes, which is probably all it would take, until I was like, dude, what, are you fucking P. Diddy? Get the fuck off. Like, what is happening here? He's just in his baseball cap like, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to. And so, yeah, if Diddy was going to try to sexually assault me in the sauna, his best bet would be to wait for me to go from the cold to the hot, to try to catch me in like that orgasmic bubble of just like meditating in a state of like, I imagine, fucking like when people are on heroin, this is like 1/1000th of what that is like going from the cold tub to the sauna and just sort of like sitting there. If Diddy was going to get me, he'd be best to ask me, during that transition period. He wouldn't be able to stick his cock up my ass, but he'd be able to get in a few solid hand strokes before I realized what was happening, or before I even wanted to, realize what was happening. Because I might think, if someone started jerking me off and I was sitting in the sauna and it was right after the cold tub, I might think that the feeling of getting jerked off was part of that experience, because it feels so good. I'd be like, oh, this is God reaching down into the sauna and finishing me off, because that's how good I feel right now. So he, Diddy would definitely get in a few on me before I stopped him. So this is the last part of the article, guys. And I know this has been a long reaction. Sometimes I'll react to 2 or 3 articles, 2 or 3 things. Sometimes I'll just go through a single article, but I felt like this one was a good one to go all the way through. So I hope it's been, fun or at least slightly entertaining. This is the last part of the Diddy sauna article. So he says, in a video interview, this is what the article says. In a video interview with The Art of Dialogue, Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, spoke about the record producer's trips to the Russian and Turkish bath months before he was arrested for running a criminal enterprise. Deal claimed his boss, Diddy, would secretly meet up with gay men in the steam room sometimes 3 times a week. So you heard the rumors. I used to wait outside for Turkish baths for him, Deal told the producer. That's where a lot of gay men meet and all take hot baths together, he said. That is, I love how this driver's like, yeah, I didn't actually see Diddy, get sucked off by gay men. I just assumed because he was going to a bathhouse. And I know a lot of gay guys go there. That's the stereotype I've heard. I heard Diddy was just going there to get his fucking cheeks shredded 3 times a week in the sauna. So yeah, Deal tells the producers, that's where a lot of gay men meet and they all take hot baths together, he said. That is why, twice, sometimes 3 times a week, me and the driver would be outside. He'd rush into the Turkish bath. You got that big ass hot tub at home, but do you want to come here? He laughed. I never thought I would be defending Diddy, and I'm not defending the actions that he's on trial for. But this guy says, the driver says, Diddy's got that big ass tub at home. Why did Diddy want to go to the bathhouse? Why did he want to go to the Turkish bathhouse? A tub at home, no matter what fancy ass tub Diddy had, a fucking hot tub in your house is nowhere near the same experience as going to a sauna or going to a bathhouse. Going to a bathhouse is so relaxing. And if you're going to a good place, it's so nice. Like I said, I've had nothing but wonderful experiences at this bathhouse that's being described in this article. Nothing but just pleasant, euphoric experiences in this bathhouse that haven't involved homosexual activity or heterosexual activity of any sort. The only thing I could be accused of being inside is the water and the heat of the sauna. The only things I've been fucked by is the hot coals of the sauna trying to make me pass out. And then I have to, go to the door, open it up, and come back to life. And I'm just like, oh my God, that was so fun. Oh my God, I'm going to do it again in 5 minutes. But people go to bathhouses. It's nice. I have a tub in my apartment. I don't fill that up with hot water and go, oh, I don't need to go to a bathhouse now. I'm sitting in soapy water. It's not the same thing. There's a bathhouse culture. And if you've never been to a bathhouse or you're judging it and you don't know what it is, fuck you. Fuck you. Bathhouse culture is the best. I fucking love it. I'm going to build a sauna and cold tub in my future house. I'm probably going to go to one regularly anyway, even if I have one in my house. I just love going to bathhouses. I fucking love it. Call me gay all you want. I don't give a shit. If I was gay, I wouldn't even fucking disgrace the bathhouse by doing gay shit in there because I'm so about bathhouse culture. I wouldn't want to give it a bad reputation. That's how much I love bathhouses. If I was gay and fucking Hugh Jackman, Matthew McConaughey, and that Russian UFC fighter all have to suck my dick at the same time, and it was my dream to have it, and it was in the steam room of a bathhouse, I wouldn't do it because I'd be like, I don't want people to get the wrong idea about bathhouses because I fucking love bathhouses, okay? Now back off. Back off. So tubs are not bathhouses. I'm not talking about the other shit that Diddy did that involved sexual trafficking and assault and, beating the shit out of his girlfriend and baby oil. All that shit, fuck him for that. He's a piece of shit creep. But, if you're going to say that having a tub is the same as a bathhouse and anyone who goes to a bathhouse is a creep if they have a tub, then no, fuck you. Bathhouses are fucking awesome. So, yeah. I also love the idea that this guy was like, yeah, I was Diddy's driver. Oh, what did you drive him for? Oh, yeah, I drive him to go get butt fucked in a bathhouse. Oh, I bet that was only a couple times, right? No, it was 2 to 3 times a week. I drove Diddy to get butt fucked in a bathhouse. I drove Diddy to just get his fucking cheeks just absolutely just... It was so loud. I would hear it from outside. I would be parked in the Escalade and just fucking hear the cheeks clapping from outside the bathhouse. That was my job. I was Diddy's bathhouse butt cheek driver. I love the idea of someone having a driver to go get butt fucked in a bathhouse. So yeah, that, brings us to the end of this article. And yeah, I just want to say obviously it's all jokes. I love this bathhouse that's mentioned in the article. I'm sure nothing shady, at least involving Diddy goes on there. Maybe he was a respectable customer. Who knows? There's a lot of famous people that went to that bathhouse and do go to that bathhouse. But all I can say is that every experience I've had there has been great, has been, absolutely, fantastic. I felt refreshed every single time I've been to this bathhouse. I bring other people to this bathhouse because I want them to experience it. And I will say that if Diddy was doing things in this bathhouse, he'd be in way less trouble. Because if you're having freak offs in a sauna, you can only go for so long before you have to take a break. You can only fuck for so long in a sauna. Not that he was doing it in this bathhouse, but I'm just saying, like, if Diddy decided, like, oh, this bathhouse is where I'm going to get freaky, you can't have 3-day long freak offs in a sauna. You can't, fly in prostitutes and like house them for 3 days and have all the IVs, the liquid IV drips he was apparently flying in. He was, having, coercing dozens of people into sexual acts and like buying hotel rooms and fucking doing it in his mansions in Miami, LA, the Hamptons, like all this shit. If Diddy kept his freak offs in a sauna setting, he'd be in way less trouble, because the longest you could freak off in a sauna is like 6 minutes. I can barely sit in a sauna for like 20 to 30 at my best. If I'm getting freaky in a sauna, if I'm upping my cardio, if I'm getting clapped in a sauna, if I'm doing the clapping, or if I'm fucking just double pterodactyling arms guys in a Russian room as my ears are melting off and like they're coming on my face and like the cum is steaming because it's so hot and it's getting in my eyes and I'm like, I can't fucking see, but I can't stop. If I'm doing that, the most I could last is like 7 minutes. And, sure, I'd get in trouble. If Diddy was doing it, Diddy would get in trouble for like jerking off guys in a sauna, but he couldn't have run the operation he was running if he just stuck to the sauna. That's why the sauna is so great, because like if you're doing something stupid, you have to leave like every 10 to 15 minutes. And then once you're outside in the normal temperature, you're like, oh yeah, maybe I don't need 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Maybe I could return those to Amazon. Oh yeah, maybe I don't need to fucking hire 14 prostitutes to cross state lines and have them come to my mansions and then film them as I sit maniacally in a throne watching people have a non-consensual orgy. Maybe I could just go to a bathhouse and get jerked off by willing guys. Maybe I could just do that like twice a week for 5 to 7 minutes, and then I leave the sauna and I'm like, that was enough. I feel worn out and refreshed. I come, I came. I came to the bathhouse. I came. There's no cleanup because the cum just fucking evaporates into the steam, and then you're done. So Diddy, if he was smart, he should have stuck to the sauna. He should have stuck to the bathhouse, because he'd be in a lot less legal trouble right now. And I wanna end with a quote by P. Diddy, by Puff Daddy P. Diddy. However he chooses to go by these days, P. Diddler Estate, the Diddle Man. He says, quote, "I feel safe in white because deep down inside I'm an angel. I feel safe in white because deep down inside I'm an angel." And I think he was talking about feeling inside white men, feeling safe inside white men. I feel safe in white because deep down inside I'm an angel. And Diddy, I think he was giving us, subtle communication. I feel safe inside white men because deep down inside my asshole, I feel like an angel. And if Diddy kept it consensual, if Diddy didn't film people, if he didn't coerce people, he didn't beat the shit out of people, he could have just been a beautiful gay man in a mixed relationship, feeling safe inside his white partner. So Diddy went too far. He went too far, obviously. And that's a lesson for all of you and me. It's that if you are ever thinking of, I want to do some freak shit. I want to have a freak off. I want to do things for 2 to 3 days, and I'm going to fucking, go all out, drugs, prostitutes, partying, wild shit's going to happen. Before you do that, go to the sauna. Get jerked off once in a sauna and see how that makes you feel. And I bet you it makes you feel pretty goddamn good. Just 5 minutes, you're in, you're out, in the cold tub, you're back in. I bet you that takes care of all of your freak off urges. And you also feel relaxed. You sweat out the booze, the toxins, you're getting your heart rate up a little bit, you're working yourself, your cardiovascular system is working, your heart's pumping as the hand is pumping on your cock, and you got both going at the same time, and you're like, oh shit, brother, I'm gonna go. Oh fuck. And that's that. That's the lesson here. Don't go straight to the 3-day freak offs, because bad shit's going to happen. Go to the 3-minute freak offs. Have a 3-minute freak off in a sauna with consensual, willing participants, and see how that makes you feel. Because you got to start small before you go big. Because if you go big right away, that's where people fuck up. That's where people get these God complexes, these fucking, where nothing could go wrong. They think, I'm the fucking man. No one can touch me. They surround themselves by yes men. And they don't see themselves. They don't look in the mirror. They don't ask themselves questions because no one's there. No one's there to tell them no. No one's there to tell them, hey, maybe you should back off a little bit. Maybe you only need like 300 bottles of baby oil, not 1,000. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope everyone is having a wonderful week or weekend whenever you're listening to this. And thank you so much for listening to another episode of Zach Reacts. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.